Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you refitting this 108. This is a 68, my 68 108 280 SE. This is being fitted with the US style stacked headlights, and I've been running these for years now in here, the seal beam units here. And I bought some Euro headlights from a gentleman in Australia. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and fit those. So, as you know, these come in a few different styles. This is the one with the flat sides, and then it arches out into a big bow. And from my understanding, they go all the way to the edge here as well without these flat sides, and also I believe flat as well. But anyway, these are the ones I've got, and because it's Australia and they drive on the other side of the road like the UK, this lens, this piece here should be on this side for our side, but I don't think it really matters really. I'm just going to run with these anyway, so I thought I'd show you what's involved. First of all, as you can see, I partially dismantled this one. Removed some of the lighting fixtures here, pulled it back, and then I'm going to take this dome out because I want to remove the glass. Take this dome out and clean it all out, and then I've got some new seals, the unit to body seals that sit in this groove around here, and then there is another seal, what I haven't got yet, that goes between the glass and this chassis here. That's something I can replace after the fact once it's in there, because I can just undo the lens and redo the seal. So anyway, right, now I'm certainly no wiring expert, I can tell you that. Real rudimentary stuff, me. And so basically, so this is the way. Let me take this block out for a second. Now this unit here that runs the indicator and the marker light here, that is screwed onto the chassis of the double headlights. Let me show you. Let's see. Oh, here. There's two mount holes here. So this guy mounts here, and that's where you can plug in your terminal block. Is this guy, okay? So once this terminal block is hooked into this guy, this runs all the headlights, markers and stuff. This car, a 68, does not have these side markers illuminated. My 72 does. So these are just literally reflectors essentially. So what I've done, I've unscrewed this from the chassis, and on the European model, you've got lights up the kazoo basically. Now that terminal block will plug straight into here, running these lights, this obviously is a straight swap, right? Now to bring this guy into the mix, this block, because we've already got this block here, you see, what I'm going to do is I've got to put a mounting bracket on this guy so these terminals don't come in contact with anything, to protect the back. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to fix it yet to the chassis. And then I'm going to use this spare block that I have here, plug that guy in there, right? I've established that the ones we need to run this indicator and side marker light are these two here, and that is the black and white and the grey and black here. These are redundant. I'll just put wire nuts on those, and then so it looks nice and factory, you see, so it's tidy. And all I'll need to do is solder these two wires onto the respective terminals on the chassis of the Euro headlight, if you get what I mean. So that I've yet to do. I'll give this a little clean out as well, to determine what wire goes where in this block. Without taking the lid off, I just did a continuity test, a simple continuity test, to make sure that we've got a good connection. Right, so let me move you over to the bench and I'll show you what I've been doing. Now, to dismantle these, excuse the siren in the background, we're in California and obviously there's a fire. So I've WD-40'd these screws here, and I'm going to take this light pod out here, and so that's just a question of backing out these screws evenly, and that just simply pulls that unit out. Okay, let me just do that. This is obviously a the directional adjustment for the main beam. We're just unscrewing that, and that light pod should come out of there. There's a couple of little slide guides here that just ease out. So that's our main pod. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. Now obviously the reason I'm taking these off and this off is so I can bring the seal over the top of the rods here. And then also we can get rid of all this wiring out the way. So then we can move that seal out, and we'll just undo this guy. And then it gives you a chance to clean all the terminals and get fresh bulbs that are on order. So that's just that simple little unit that comes out there. I'll go over there. And now then we can undo this guy. This is for the lower fog light at the bottom here. Dirty great bulb this is, I'll tell you. I'm not using a power screwdriver because this way I can detect if there's any resistance, you know. You don't want to go shearing or breaking these little mounts off because that would be a bit of a pain. Give them a good soaking with WD or PB blaster. There we go. So that, see that is the lower fog unit, that's adjustable there. So then now, before we take the seal out, what I've done, see these little clips here? I've soaked those clips, and then we just rotate those with a pair of needle nose, and then the whole lens comes off. Let me soak that one a little bit. Get that clip, and then I just kind of needle nose, and then just kind of work it back and forth. Oh, that was easy. Yeah, they're nice and easy, those guys. Yeah, if you get any resistance, don't go forcing it, because these are riveted on, and that would be a pain to replace those. Make sure that comes off. Nice, so the lens now should come off. That gives me the ability to clean that up. Now, this unit's actually in a better shape than the other one. See, the reflector's in quite a nice shape, good gasket on there. The other one's pretty trash, so I'll get all the WD-40 off of this one. And yeah, that's actually fine. I might put a little bit of, what's the stuff? Name escapes me, like silicone stuff, you know, to make sure the rubber is pliable. So what I do now is clean all this up. See, the reflector on this one is really nice and bright. On the other one, it's a little faded. See, it's a little, well, there you go, it's a little more faded. I might see if I can search one of those guys out. Get rid of all this old rubber, and I'll show you where I got my new gaskets. Just before I finish cleaning up all this channel here, you can lever this fog unit out just off these little slide units here. See, that's where they pivot on these little rubbers here, do that business. So what I've been doing is just using a little brass wire brush and going around with brake cleaner and cleaning up this channel where the new gasket's going to sit. The rubber seals, this is one that for the other side. Rubber seals, you know, they fit in this groove here, these blocks. And I bought these from Daimler-Benz Depot in Germany, because the new ones are these, believe it or not, they're like, for the pair, they were like 350 bucks for these from Mercedes, and I'm sorry, I ain't paying that. So I took a chance at DB Depot, and they said these are a good quality aftermarket, and they seem fine to me. And especially for this, once this is on there and sandwiched up against the body, I think it's a little unnecessary to go too mad on it. I mean, some of you purists want to get the Mercedes ones, you go ahead, but I need to save my money for other more important Mercedes parts. So front seal here on this one is really dried and cracked, and I will change that one out when I get a chance. The other one's good, as you've already seen. So let's start at the bottom here, be easier just going over this because we know then we're in the right position. As I say, I dry fitted these earlier with no glue on, and they went in really nice. They kind of bit into this channel. You could just tell the fit was nice. It wasn't rubbish, you know, you can tell. I've had some seals, I don't really want to mention the country too much because I don't want to be negative, but from a different country, let's put it that way, and they were not good. They really were pretty bad, and I ended up actually giving them away. So that was for door seals, and I think probably some of you know who I mean. So get that worked in. That was having a bit of a fight there. So with a little bit of faffing around, I was able to get that rubber seal in the channel and to essentially clamp it into place. All I've done is essentially screwed the frame back into position on the bodywork, giving a little nip up here, and now that can just stay and set up. We'll just make sure this fits in place. With the Euro headlights, you do have to remove on the American version. Let me show you. As I say, you do have to remove this little bracket that screws into the top of the fender bucket here for the American version. So just take that off and then you can fit this in. So I'll keep that in a little baggie. Another little detail, you got your mount screw here, you got your hook here, but there's also some guides here on the two sides to make sure they intersect with the main chassis here. Let me show you on the one that I still got to do. See these little tabs here right in the corner, like a little rib on both sides? That's meant to intersect with these guys, each side of the chrome bezel. So it's easy to not engage those. So that's how that makes sure that that engages and stays tight to the body, you see. Now, we can undo the pods here, you see. It's just, and that's the little bracket I was talking about that you have to remove for the Euro ones. So let's get these 4 screws out. Pull forward, and then we can just unplug the block here. Okay, a bit stiff now. So then we unplug the headlight. And actually, let's take the jumper off. We'll put that jumper back on, and then we can, this is that mount plate. We'll unmount it from the chassis here. It's all very original in here, which is really nice. No one's been in here faffing around with it, as you can see. Okay, so that's our pod out the way. This is the jumper that jumps over to the, you know, you've got your main beam, and then once the main beams come on, the bottom one comes on as well. So we'll leave this with the light unit. I'm going to, I'll show you what I made up for these little junctions here. So I'm going to screw the next one on so the glue presses nice against the body. Right, we'll leave that. Right, now let me show you what I come up for dealing with this loose bracket that I don't want to attach to the headlight unit because I think it'll become a little unwieldy dealing with all that, trying to screw it on and all that. So let me show you. Right, just to make sure that we don't get any grounding out of the terminals in the back here, I've made up these pieces of steel, rounded the edges, painted them so they don't rust and stuff, and then all I'll do is put a little insulating tape around the center portion where the terminals are going to be close to. I mean, this, they're not actually going to touch it, but just in case they were to, then they'll just bottom out on this tape like so, and then the 2 mount holes line up. Okay, so then we'll just mount this to this guy, and then this can be just tied out of the way once connection blocks attached to here, you see. So let's just screw that on there. I drilled and tapped the correct hole size into this bit of metal. Right, so that just screws onto there. See, and now the terminals are protected by this guy, and it doesn't look like crap. I didn't want to just wrap it all in insulating tape because I think that looks a bit shitty. Let me get that in mind. We can, you know, zip tie that out the way, and these edges won't bash around in there and scratch all the paint up. That's the idea anyway. Alright, let's go and fit the other one. You know, the appropriate proper Mercedes terminal block there, and then we'll solder these wires on, jumper wires, and then we'll block these, or you know, tie these out the way. So basically, so nothing's been altered, you see. That's what I like doing anyway. Alright, let's get some bulbs next. I've ordered a whole new set because there's quite an array of bulbs in these units. So you've got your top one up top here, indicator. Then obviously you've got your high-low beam halogen bulb. Then you've got this little side marker bulb, tiny little guy at the top there. Okay, that's the first click, you know, for essentially running, parking, you know, those side marker lights, I should say. Then this big one at the bottom is a fog light. And then this one here is that one that, you know, when you can turn the switch 2 clicks left, so you can light one side of the car and the other if you're parked on the side of the road, and you know, you can designate one side of the car or the other. So that's that one there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bulbs in these units. I've ordered them from Authentic Classics. Not sure, I think they're back east actually. And they were they found they were the best ones with all the assortment of various bulbs. And I actually punched in the 113 model, and essentially they had them all sitting there, and carefully went through. So let me show you exactly what bulbs I got, and we'll get this guy fitted. There is the list of bulbs. Just makes it a little easier when you've got a list there, so just you can pause that and take notes. Now, as I say, we made these little protective plates here so it doesn't bang around in there and make contact with the original terminal here. And what I'm going to do for the moment, I'm going to decide what I want to do. Here's the thing, you see. I can certainly wire this as a side marker light into the back of the headlight using a terminal block like this, an old 5-point terminal block, and just dedicate the lines back into the unit and also the indicator, so we'll be flashing up top and here. But I haven't fully decided yet because I posted this on the Facebook group, and one of the commenters said, it got me thinking, changing these out as driving lights. Now, I don't want to go soldering these onto the unit until I know what I'm going to do with this. I might just end up keeping this and then bring these, and that would be a simple case of finding out which wire runs that and then bringing it in. But for the moment, you see, I can just put that there, and you can get these terminal blocks. I've got a spare car, you see, so I just take a lot of these terminal blocks off of that. So right now I've just taped it up, so it will just sit in there and do nothing basically. So this one obviously goes into our headlight, and this plugs in, and we'll screw it on and we should be off to the races. So as I say, I'm just plugging in here, our little terminal block. Original terminal block went on here, headlight, and then this other one I'll just set off to the side here harmlessly until I decide what I'm going to do. So we'll set that. Also remember, this one I can easily remove the lens once this frame is screwed on, to pay attention to that glass seal that was a little dodgy on this one. But for the moment, because I'm excited and I want to get these Euro headlights on, that will have to do, because you know, I don't really drive this car in the rain anyway, but I do get caught out in it on occasion, you know. It's not a trailer queen, it's essentially my nicer weather daily driver. But I'm loving the look of them. I mean, I really, it gives it a much more traditional look in my eye. Some will agree, some won't. I personally really much prefer these. It gives it that very classic German look, I think, that really appeals to me. So sometimes this little receiving nut can slide in that little bracket there, so you have to make sure it's in the right place, make sure they're engaged, and then just tighten it up. Lovely. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to go from the top down. We're going to go indicator, headlight, marker light, fog light, and then parking lights. Hopefully they all work. Oh, we're getting no indicator. Got to check that connection. Should have done that before I put all the chrome stuff on, but anyway, right, let's check that. I suspect this one wasn't working because of bad ground, so I just want to see. I'm getting power there, no problem. So it's probably this bulb. I'll make sure the bulb's good, and it might be the casing around this bulb, because this has been painted a little bit, this thing, and it's probably just not grounding right. So we've got a power probe here. We can test the bulb, but the power probe just ground out on the body here. Needs 3 amps. So bulb's good. So yeah, we've probably got some grounding issues on the casing now. I'll just clean that up and we'll be good. There you go. It was a little bit of paint. Someone's painted this little unit, and paint had got down in the body of the bulb holder, so that's working good. Right, next try. Okay, we'll go through them again, top to bottom. Well, they test out all good. In actual fact, those last ones that I was testing from side to side, I didn't realise they won't work unless you take the key out. So as I say, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. As I say, I've not wired in these markers yet until I figure out what I want to do. Let me know what you think, whether I should go for maybe another driving light there. You know, you've seen those round Bosch ones, that 6.3 that I rescued from the woods some years ago that went out to Chicago to mark. Dirty great things, they were huge, and that would look pretty cool, but whether it'll look right on this, I'm not sure. Let me know your feedback, see what you think, because this is easy to tag these in. There's extra indicators, extra marker lights, so hope you got a bit from that. I'm no electrician at all as far as auto. That's one of the things I like the least in actual fact, but this was actually pretty straightforward. Luckily, no one had messed with this car and, you know, jimmied the wiring or cut things and spliced in scotch locks and all that rubbish. It was all standard, so it was pretty much plug and play. And you saw what was involved. So appreciate it, guys, and thank you for the member that sold me these headlights, and it's been a while since I bought them, so I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I got these from one of the members in Australia. Really appreciate it, and have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and have a great evening. Bye bye.